We're going to break our season into 4 seasons. We're going to have off-season, we're going to have preseason, we're going to have in-season, we're going to have the dead season. I would start in the off-season, and what we call the off-season is when we return from Christmas break. Whenever we get back, the off-season from January 3rd, January 4th, when we get back all the way until school ends. That's the off-season, and we're going to work out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're going to bring the varsity and the JV in at 6 in the morning, and we're going to work out before school. Now, we can get to an argument about should you go 4 days a week, should you go 3 days a week, and I can listen to the greatest strength trainers in the world talk about it, but what it comes down to for me is balance. The kids are here to get an education. So you go 4 days, you're getting kids up at 6 a.m. an additional day. That's going to put them in bed earlier, that's going to take some more energy away from them. What's going to suffer? Academics. So right away, even Coach T, my strength coach, you want to go 4? No, we're not going 4 days. I'm not going to have that. Again, this gets back to this is a me thing. I want the kids to try to find balance. I'm totally imbalanced in my life. I want the kids, I want to at least teach them about balance. So we're going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we're going to try to build bulk. We're going to try to get bigger. We're going to try to get stronger. Then we'll get into the preseason, which starts as soon as we get out of school in the summer. And so we're going to continue to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but now we're going to start running more. We're going to start doing more agility. Not that we don't do the agility in the off season, but we're going to really start focus on leaning them out a little bit. We're going to work on our quickness, our speed and agility. We'll test at the beginning of the summer. We'll test at the end of the summer, and we keep running tallies of all this. We're going to test them on deadlift. We're going to test them on squat. We're going to test them on bench. We're going to test them on 40, pro shuttle. We'll go in the preseason, still Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The state of Ohio gives us 10 camp days to use any way we want from June 1st to July 31st. I tend to use those at the end of July. We're only in helmets. Now, I think we're at a disadvantage in the state of Ohio in some ways because we don't have spring ball. We aren't able to wear equipment, full pads, until really August. Even we get into August, we go acclimation. We're in helmets for 2 days, and we're in shoulder pads for 2 days, and then we get a day of full pads, and then we have contact after that. So I think we're at a disadvantage, especially with our schedule. We play teams from Kentucky, we play teams from Tennessee, and Indiana. Those schools have spring ball, or they have more time in the summer to make decisions. You get to see kids hit. Some kids look great in underwear football. We know that. But all of a sudden the pads go on, the color of the sky is a little bluer, the grass is a little greener. Kids show their stripes, so to speak. So what we do is we're going to try to overload them. We're in helmets only, and we're going to try to install everything. We're going to overload them. I want their heads spinning, but I want to get it all in so we can see how certain kids react. You can tell a lot about a kid that's going home and studying and coming back and knows what he's supposed to do, as opposed to the kid that's constantly turning around and asking, what am I doing on this play? That goes a long way for me to see the investment of the kids. I always tell the kids, you get out of this what you invest into it. So we're just going to install our entire offense. Again, we're in helmets only, so you can't see anything. Linebackers in Pascal are dropping, getting 20 yards deep in their drops, and all of a sudden pads go on, they're not getting to 8. Things are different, but that's what we're trying to accomplish. It was different for us just this past year because we start school so early. We start on the 11th of August, so we lost a week of doubles. And that's a big week to lose, so we used all of our camp days at the end of July just to ramp it up and get all of our stuff in. Once August hits and we're in double sessions, now those 3 lifts a week go to 2 lifts a week. We're gonna go Tuesday and Thursday, and then Saturday with everybody. So all preseason is June all the way through August until our first game. Then we hit in season. So what are we going to do in season? Now it's a 6-day week. Monday we wake up in the morning, first thing, we're in chapel. We have our chapel visit. We have a theme for the week. What are we, again, purpose. Everything comes back to being purpose-centered. where we have a purpose for the week. The focus this week is on gratitude. How are we going to show our gratitude to people that are important in our life? So we'll have them write cards of gratitude to people that have impacted their life in a positive way. Again, that's the focus. So we'll go through that week and we'll always talk about being great. I'm grateful for my position coach. How do you show them? I'm grateful for my teammates. How do you show them? These are things, again, mission-centered. Those aren't football-centered, it's mission-centered, but we'll play it into the game of football. The next week it might be on perseverance. You build on it. And again, this isn't something I've done. I took this from somebody. I can't even remember who I took it from, but I took it from somebody. So we go chapel visit. Monday we'll have a heavy practice. Tuesday we'll have a heavy practice. Wednesday will be a lighter team period. Thursday will be a walkthrough. Friday's the game. Saturday morning we lift, we run, and then we'll have 8 teams that will go on service. 4 of them on a Saturday will go out and do community service. Again, mission-centered. It's bigger than just football, guys. What are we doing to make it bigger than just football? So we'll do that throughout the season. Coaches, it's a 7-day week. We're game planning Saturday, Sunday we meet, and we're getting the game plan together. And then it rolls back over Monday. So in season, we'll go obviously from the first game at the end of August, September, October, and hopefully into November, and if we're fortunate, into December. That's in season, so 5 months there, and that's a grind. So we're lifting on Saturdays, we're lifting on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. After the season, then we have the dead season. Part of that is imposed by the state of Ohio. We cannot see our kids once the season ends for a full month. Regardless of when our season ends, I don't want to see the kids until after Christmas break. Again, balance, trying to give them some balance. Now they can go and work out on their own. If they want to come down in the weight room, Coach T will be down there and he'll set them up, but we will not do any group activities. And a lot of that is they got to get away from the head coach. And the head coach has to try to distance himself from the players as well. But that's how we'll rotate it in that dead season. I want them to be kids. I don't care if they show up for weights. But I will say this, no matter what season we're in, I'm going to tell you now, I'm pushing my kids to get involved. If you want to play baseball, play baseball. I don't need to see you until after baseball season. If you're playing, go play basketball, be a kid. The specialization thing has gone a little too far in my opinion. As a head coach to young head coaches, let them be kids. Football will still be there, and I don't care if they're in the weight room year round. If they're competing on a court, I can't teach competition in the weight room the way they're learning how to compete on a basketball court. I can't do that. I just want them to enjoy being a kid and doing the things they want to do. Now, having said that, if I have a kid that's not doing another sport, his butt's in the weight room. That's mandatory for him because he's got to be involved. So I would throw that out there to any aspiring young coach. Please promote other opportunities for kids. Promote them getting involved in community service. I've had kids that sing in the choir. I have kids that are playing the band outside of the season. I think that's important for kids. Again, gets back to mission-centered. And I have a goal for starting in the dead season for the off-season, preseason, and in-season. And I'll give you an example. I thought we lacked a little physical toughness and a little edge. So the goal was we've got to get that back. How do we get that back? This is the purpose for our entire dead season, off-season, preseason, in-season. We want to get back that physical toughness. So it started in the off-season, in the weight room. It wasn't just about lifting weights and getting bigger, stronger. How do we get that edge? So T put in bomber builders. What are those? We're crushing them mentally at the end of a workout. It was 4 quarters, and they're push pressing, and then they're on the ground doing planks, and then he just kept them going. And you had a lot of kids that were getting sick, running to the trash cans. And the first day I thought, oh my God, we got a long way to go. But at the end of the summer, you could see these kids going through bomber builders, and man, they were on it. They had no problem. And I said, T, we crossed a bridge. That was a big hurdle. Well, now you have to take that to the preseason. Our same goal is the physical toughness, the mental toughness. I think one of the ways to develop that edge is by making sure kids understand they're competing, that they don't have a position. So you have to create the competition, move guys around, rotate the depth chart on every day. That's part of the goal, and it changes from year to year depending on what you think you need. But I think the goal has to be the same in every season. If you have one overarching, if you try to have a bunch of different goals, I don't think you ever really focus on the one important goal. So that would be advice I would give to a young guy is know what the big thing is you want to accomplish. And you're going to have a lot of little things that help you accomplish that, and include everybody on staff and outline it for them. So, and then obviously in a preseason, you're trying to fit the puzzle. You get ideas of what you think you have, but then as the camp goes on, some things start to change. I'll give you a perfect example this year is we wanted to get back to running the ball and pounding the ball. And so what do? Well, we visited. Who will you visit? You visit Michigan State. You visit Stanford. You visit Wisconsin. You visit the teams that pound the ball. So we went on our visits, and we were going to be heavy in a fullback, a two-back set with a lead blocker. All of a sudden, I got a young senior who is a track fast guy, not very big, but he's fast, and he's really shown me something. So now all of a sudden we start shifting from, okay, we want that power package, but we've got these two fast tailbacks. Neither one of them we want blocking, so now you're going to tweak the package and you're going to fit the puzzle differently. That's what we're trying to do, is get a better idea of what our kids can do and how the puzzle fits. I think if you're inflexible and you say, this is what we're going to run, this is how we're going to run it, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you got to fit the puzzle to the talents of your kids. We're an inside zone power team. So right away, I know 60% of my runs are going to be inside zone or that gap scheme. We know that. So day one, what are we going to install? We're going to install inside zone. We're going to get good at that. Day two, we're going to install gap. Now we're going to have 15% stretch. I'm going to put that stretch play in last. Once I feel good about, now we could have the install, I could have Monday we're going inside zone, Tuesday we're going gap, Wednesday we're going stretch, and all of a sudden inside zone looks good, gap looks like crap, so we're going to focus more on gap, and I'll push back, because that's what we hang our hat on. That's who we are. So that's the focus for us. And then you've got 60% there, another 15% with the stretch, that's 75%. And then we have 25% of all the miscellaneous stuff. The reverses, the gadgets. Till we feel good about those three, I don't care about anything else. Now from an install standpoint, I'm going to keep it simple up front for our offensive line. But I'm going to do as many things as I can with formations and run those plays. So another thought for me is I want to be multiple in formation. So I'm going to force feed our skill guys all the formations we can. I'm going to force feed all the shifts, all the motions, all the perimeter, peripheral stuff that we're trying to get a defense to think. That's important for me. So we got a run game. We've got all our formations, all our motions associated with the run game. The next step for me is play action. I have to have play action multiple ways off of all my core runs. So that's play action off of inside zone. That's play action off of gap. That's play action off of stretch. And for me, it has to be different launch points. So we're going to boot off of this. We're going to tackle pocket set off of this. We're going to roll. We're going to sprint out off of this. So this goes into our thought process. We're not even getting into our 5-step game until we get our play action down. And then after that, now we'll start talking about concepts in the passing game. That's kind of the thought process for me. We're going to build around our core runs, and we're going to start with the core runs. We're going to get good at the core runs. We'll get good at the play action off of the core runs, and then we'll throw in our 5-step game. After 5-step game, now we go into our screen game, and we're going to focus on our screen game. Once we get our screen game in, now we're going to look at some of our gadgets. We'll get our gadgets in. After that, then we go to 2-minute. Let's get our 2-minute in, but the 2-minute is simply a combination of what formation do we like. I think the core is you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to block and tackle our basic combat, but you got to be able to run the ball to be effective offensively, in my opinion. So that's how we build. Who are you? Defensively, offensively, what are you? We're a read scheme defense. We're an odd stack, but we're not. You can go and see so many different variations of the odd stack. Some teams are blitzing every down, playing man coverage. That's not who we are. We're going to be a read scheme defense. Everything we're going to do is going to be predicated on the block of the offensive line, and our defensive line is going to react accordingly, and our backers are going to fit opposite the down lineman. So from day one, we're going to get our read scheme in. We're going to install read scheme across the board. We're not worrying about stunts, blitzes, it's read scheme, and we're gonna get good at that. We're a matching zone concept, or a 3-deep matching zone concept. We play loose man on the corners. We're gonna play 2 seam techniques, a hold technique. That is the foundation of what we are. Read scheme, matching zone concept, 3-deep matching zone concept in the secondary. So we're gonna hammer that until we're really good at it, and then we're gonna take the next step, and what is that? We're gonna stunt. If I'm gonna run an edge stunt, that's gonna be a 2-man game for us. We're gonna short stick the end and bring a backer off the edge. What are the other 2 down linemen and backers doing? They're read scheming. I'm not gonna spend a boatload of time on read scheme if we're only gonna run it some of the times. We're gonna run it the bulk of the time. So we'll go in and we'll add stunts, but the coverage hasn't changed. You know, the other point I would try to make is secondary-wise, I'm teaching technique. I will mix and match techniques to develop different coverages, but the kids better not be learning too many techniques that they can't play fast. So if we're learning a seam technique, I'm going to adapt that seam technique to 3 under 3 deep, 4 under 3 deep. I'm going to adapt that seam technique to press man on the corners with two high safeties. So we're going to build starting with our matching zone 3 deep concept, and we're going to build out from that. But you know, it's all predicated on who are you and what do you do. And this could be a conversation that would be days and days and days about install, but it has to start with what your foundation is, what your bread and butter is, what your identity is, and then build from there.